All right, let's just jump into it, shall we? We've got some Pioneer. It's actually we haven't played any Pioneer since Companions were added to the format. We've got a 3-color humans deck that gets to kind of free roll Wellspring here for the most part. So we've got Honored Hierarch here, not quite Noble Hierarch. This has the mechanic Renowned. When this deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't Renowned, put over 1 counter on it, it becomes Renowned, and then it turns into a Mana Dork. Gains Vigilance and taps to add a mana of any color. Hey, MTG Wikia, thanks for the 3/4 0. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Got Thraben Inspector and Kytheon here at the bottom end of our curve. We've got some Charming Prince, Thalia's Lieutenants, and then Kitesail Freebooter is a little bit disruptive in the middle. And then we've got some General Kudro from Ikoria here, along with Anafenza at the top end of the curve, and some kind of collected companies tying the room together. So let's pop on into some matches here with this. I'm told that Pioneer has experienced something similar to Modern, and that the companion decks have made some of the fair decks a little bit better in this format, but I don't know. I don't have any first-hand experience to know that that's the case since what's it called? Since the companions dropped, so we'll find out. Tefri in training, thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Jay Miller, 17 as well. Howdy, howdy, folks. Happy Thursday. Happy HA release day. Shout out to everyone that took the time to check out the raid sponsor, by the way. We're at 140 of the first 180 stretch goal. I get a bit of a bonus from them if I have 180 people, 215 or 250 people use my link. And I have a week to rack those up, so thanks everybody that took a couple minutes to do that. Remember, if you did take a couple minutes to check out raid and play through the tutorial, drop me a message letting me know what deck in the queue you'd like to bump up as a thank you for checking out the sponsor. Anyone that does that all the way through the tutorial to get counted gets to bump a deck by 3 points. Because I appreciate you. Yep. Just got to install it on PC and play through the tutorial. Yeah, it seems pretty good. It's a little bit land heavy, but both the fact that we have collected company here and the fact that we have Jeg guaranteed seems like it's a pretty easy keep. Playing against Yorion here. The graphics are a lot more crisp on the PC. I play a majority of mine on the phone, but it is a treat when I have PC time to do it. Yeah, they got everything sorted. They were having some issues with their software yesterday morning, but they even were able to figure out the people that did it during that time frame too, so those are all there. Yeah, the Anafenza is fantastic here. Our mana is also pretty consistent. So probably blue-black inverter. Trial of Ambition's a hot card with Yorion. We're probably going to see this in Historic here soon. Once Amonkhet Remastered lands. Let's take a peekaboo and find out what they've got going on, huh? Mitsu, thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, she's really good, Goatnapped. You're disappointed. Wizards pulled money from the prize pool. Ben, thanks for the hefty. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I feel like people who are looking at Wizards pulling money from the prize pool are being super glass half full because, like, realistically, Wizards of the Coast could have just, like, canceled their tournament series. They could have just been like, all right, paper tournaments can't happen because of, countries being on lockdown. We're just not replacing them with anything. I also think that, yeah, while Hasbro's a billion-dollar corporation, like, lots of things, the reality of the world in which we're living in right now, we probably aren't fully through the repercussions of an impending recession. So, like, not to go full WotC shill, but to kind of go full WotC shill, like, them pulling money from the prize pool seems like pretty understandable from a business perspective. You would prefer a complete postponement. Yeah, but a complete postponement just isn't practical. It means they'd have to stop running tournaments altogether in the meantime, and nobody has a realistic date of when they'd be postponing to. We don't know if large Magic tournaments in person are going to resume, you know, a year from now, a year and a half, 2 years from now. Nobody knows what that line is. Where's that? This is the last HA this year with the inclusion of Amonkhet and Kaladesh in this news. I haven't heard anything about Kaladesh being added to Arena. Amonkhet Remastered is supposed to be happening this year, though. I mean, I have bias. Everybody has biases, but yeah, I try to be as fair and levered as I can be. I'm a JoJo. Thanks for the 19 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I actually think there were a lot of pretty sweet designs in both Kaladesh and Amonkhet, and if Pioneer and Modern are any indicator, I'm not really expecting Kaladesh to really be overbearing. I think a lot of people just have feel bad moments from those from like that standard format, and it really looks pretty different. That like bigger, those cards look different in deeper card pools with deeper formats, yeah. Like the energy cards are like barely playable in Pioneer and Modern. Yep, contextual. So I don't actually want to attack this for 5 here, or for 4 here, because they're probably just going to play Yorion and blink it next turn, so I'm going to go ahead and smack them in the face for 4 here to start. The Arena update should be happening about 90-ish minutes from now. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and collect a company in response here. Hopefully they didn't draw a censor. So I know they have a Narset. I feel like the next Mythic Invitational being historic sounds awesome. Yeah, Raid's genuinely a lot of fun. As someone who likes games like Pokemon and like played a lot of Diablo growing up, Diablo 2, like the game is something I genuinely enjoy and play a lot of. In a world where I have a little bit more time, I plan to like make some raid content for fun that's not sponsored. Like I'd like to make a couple of like champion guides and stuff like that, but my non-work, non-family time has basically gone to zero since everything with COVID happened and the kids not being in school anymore, so yeah, I played an unreal amount of Diablo 2 growing up. Thanks for the quarter of a year, Kenneth. I mean, that's just like a big part of real life. Like if you have an inn places, that inn is gonna make your life easier in ways. Like I'm not even on good terms with a lot of people like with Wizards of the Coast as a company, and even I often know things before they happen. What's my favorite reference? It's not what you know, it's who you blow. It's all about which wheels you grease, chat. So they have Yorion looming with these trials. They're going to like double Edict me next turn, which sucks. Yes, the people who downloaded while the software wasn't working, those got added back in, which is great because there are actually 15 of them that got missed. So that 140 includes the people that did it yesterday. So those weren't missed. They're just their disruption of service was somewhere between the installs happening and the alert software. They were actually being counted though. So thanks to everybody that did that. We're actually getting pretty close to the 180 goal, and then I've got extra stretch goals for 215 and 250 if we get there. And we've got till I believe the end of Monday to try and get there. And the people that take the time to do that, feel free to just DM me after you complete the tutorial and see your name pop up there, and let me know what deck you'd like to bump up in the queue. Twitch. Discord DMs are preferred if you're not in the subs Discord or you're a non-sub that did it. Feel free to DM me on Twitch or Twitter as well. And this is actually one of the reasons why the opponent's archetype is so good and was a big part of why I stopped playing Pioneer is the inverter combo. The inverter combo is just obnoxious and too good. So like I killed their Jace because like I needed to kill their Jace, and then they had inverter here. So like now they just put this back into their deck, and like they draw this, and eventually they'll win. Like, so like I have two turns to kill them here, and I don't believe I can kill them in 2 turns. And not only do I only have 2 turns to kill them, but they have a 4-mana 6/6 flyer to block with here while I do it, right? So we're just like just dead, can't win. I really feel like I hit the summary on the head the other day on Twitter with like this format literally experienced all of the terrible things that happened to Modern over the course of 5 years in the span of 3 months. I guess I do this and then attack with everything, but like it doesn't really matter, right? So like if Jace is their top card, we lose next turn. If Jace isn't their top card, they get to play Yorion and double Edict us. Sir Elks, thanks for 7 months. Welcome back. What do you think about Wizards changing the way companions functions instead of bads? For example, the extra card text. Sure, I think they could update that if they think there's a problem. I also Neckfire, thanks for the tones. I also think the people who are acting like there's a problem with companions in general are people who are not very good at being analytical and not good at analyzing what's going on. I would be kind of genuinely surprised if, oh, they have land, they do this, and then they get their thing back. They get Narset, and then they have a land, so they guaranteed to do it. All right, good, excellent, good chat. What was I gonna say? I feel like the people who are acting like companions in general are a problem are being pretty ignorant and ignoring like the obvious data in front of them. Like, if there's an issue with companions, it's almost assuredly an issue with a small subset of them, and not with the mechanic as a whole, I don't think. As is often the case, like saying there's a problem with companions in general because of, Luris and Yorion is like saying planeswalkers are bad because of Oko and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Like, obviously, planeswalkers as a card type are fine, and those 2 cards are overtuned, and like, both of those things can exist at the same time, right? Like, planeswalkers can be fine, and these 2 planeswalkers can be busted and probably not have hit the mark. Like, missing the mark with some of the card type doesn't mean all of the card type is nonsense. Let's trim a couple of my other 2-drops, bring in these to stop their Yorion, I guess. This seems like a pretty free roll against any other companion decks. The Read folks give you any stats on how effective my Rage Shells are. Well, I mean, they've come back twice, so I assume they're happy with the results. think there's definitely a chance that, like, there's people that get it, but they just, like, dislike them for personal reasons. So they want to sell the whole mechanic to be bad. Thank you for the very generous bit, Seth. Do you have a specific list you want me to play, or do you want me to come up with one? Stiggy, thanks for 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. In the companion, having the same response, energy did with kind of a similar effect, where they made a number of energy-based cards a little bit too high, and some of the cards. Yeah, I agree. I think comparing it to energy is actually really, really reasonable. I think that's a super apt comparison. Bebop Sex Man, thanks for 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. People can go off saying WotC has made too many. Yeah, but like, so I would like to prefix the statement I'm about to make with, I am aware that I am very likely in the minority with the opinion I'm about to give. Sarah Q, thanks for the 20 months. But in my opinion, I would rather have Wizards of the Coast push a lot of interesting designs and end up banning a couple of cards every set if they miss, rather than have all their designs be super conservative. And again, I'm aware, like, reading the people that scream into the void in general, I think I'm certainly in the minority with those feelings. In my opinion, if you are not failing on occasion, you are not innovating hard enough. And I genuinely feel like it's a culture issue as opposed to a design issue. Like, there is this really awful culture among the Magic community, I feel, where people act like if a card gets banned, Wizards of the Coast has this, like, monumental failure. And I think that that's just idiotic. I think it's nonsense. I think Wizards should innovate constantly, and they should be willing to fail on occasion. And in my opinion, Wizards' biggest failure is that when they fail, they refuse to admit it and make corrections. I think Once Upon a Time is a very glaring, this card shouldn't have been printed. I don't know what the people that approved this were thinking. I think Oko's not so easy. I think you could definitely make the argument, hey, Clowncopter, thanks for the 15 months. Historic Christmas indeed. I think you could definitely make the argument that they probably didn't test with Oko enough. I think you can make the argument that they didn't test with Oko enough, and his numbers are definitely wrong. But I actually think Oko is an incredibly sweet design that creates a lot of really interesting gameplay patterns. I think there's a lot of play offered with what Oko does. I also think talking about, I saw someone mention Luris there in chat. I also don't think Luris is really any spectacular failure, because in my opinion, Wizards of the Coast should have their focus on Standard. And Luris is fine in Standard. Sounds good, D-Beard. That'll get bumped up after I'm done today. Hey, Jerry. Thanks for that. Grapple, thanks for completing the tutorial as well. And Jerry, actually, if you did it yesterday, they got counted. So anybody that did the raid thing yesterday when the ticker wasn't working, they were able to get those back added for me. So I appreciate you all. In my opinion, if a card like Luris is fine in Standard and they think it's going to be a problem in non-rotating formats, they should still print it and then just ban it in the non-rotating formats. I don't think cards being busted in non-rotating formats should hinder them printing sweet cards in Standard. I think I actually want Sin Collector here. They're fairly controlling post-board. They have like sweepers and stuff. I'm going to trim these Thalias. Yeah, I agree, Kenneth. I agree. Garrick, Predator of Scrubs, 6 to 19 months. Again, most of my issues with the way things happen is that there is purely based around their response time. It's not that issues happen. I expect issues to happen. It's just that I feel like they're not agile enough in their response to their issues. Yeah, I agree, Rob. I agree. I think a little bit more transparency and a little bit faster reaction time would go a long way for Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, exactly, Punchworthy. I agree. Big agree. The issue is transparency and consistency. I think I'm mulligan this hand because it's missing a color and doesn't have a great curve. Yeah, seems super reasonable. Bottom of the third land tier. Theoretically, the patch is going to be live in a little over an hour. So yeah, the plan is to play this Pioneer League and then play a bunch of Historic. Well, we don't actually have a watch list for Historic. I think if we had a watch list, that would be great, but we don't. That's not actually something we have. Sounds good, Seth. Excited to get Cry of the Canarium next turn. Thraben Inspector is like a 3-drop in a lot of ways. It draws a card. Oh yeah, by the way, for people who are interested in playing in the Open this Saturday, but you didn't get a slot in time, make sure you're in the subs Discord and sign up for the waitlist. If you are, because like folks in chat there, we've had a number of people drop out. I believe the waitlist is actually almost empty. I appreciate the people being responsible and dropping in advance. When you do drop, you should be able to drop using your MTG Melee player controller. If you can do me a favor and tag my wife in Discord when you drop so she can know she can put someone in from the waitlist, I'd appreciate that. All right, well, they didn't just windmill slam a Cry, so we got that going for us. Glass half full. It'd be worthwhile for Wizards to create a player feedback committee for band. They would curate public opinion and look at data. I don't think they need to do anything that formal, Jerry. I think they could very easily just like if they don't have a feel about like what public opinion is based on. If they don't have a feel on what public opinion is based on like just like consuming content, they're not consuming enough content. Yeah, hitting a 2-drop next turn would be nice. Get to fill in Inspector plus 2-drop. I guess a counter argument to just looking at social media, and this is something that I've definitely experienced a lot of too, is that it's actually important to remember that people who are happy with things generally don't go out of their way to tell you they are happy with things. Which that's such a critical thing to know, especially in content creation, like knowing that most people aren't going to tell you when they're happy with things. Yeah, self-selecting responses is a big deal. Social media especially is an echo chamber of where you go to let people know when you're unhappy with something. It's like, you know what the best thing about having 15,000 Twitter followers is, chat? I get a direct message or a phone call when I tag companies very quickly. It's fantastic. Thank you to all of you out there that follow me on Twitter that get me better customer service. I really appreciate you. And again, here, like, just showing, it's good to know that Pioneer, and like this, I feel like this really highlights, like, people complaining about companions. Like, sure, my opponent's deck has a companion in it now, but it's fundamentally still the same thing. Like, this format hasn't changed because my opponent's inverter deck now plays Yorion. Like, I'm still losing and having the same god-awful crap happen to me that happened before Yorion was a thing that they were doing. It's just now they do that thing and also have Yorion. So, like, at the end of the day, nothing really changed. Yeah, Saffron's been very old man yells at clouds for a while now. Yeah, and I lose the game. We might have just some hanging out time on this stream if this league's a dumpster fire. It's like, honestly, playing that first match there, it kind of reminds me why nobody submitted Pioneer decks in a long time. And in fact, the only reason we're playing this Pioneer deck today was because I let someone swap their standard submission to Pioneer because I'd rather sit through a Moto League than play an extra standard set on Arena at the moment. I also hadn't like played Pioneer in a while, so like I wanted to give it a shake, but like inverter, still inverter. Cat combos still banned. Leyline still banned. Why is Field of the Dead banned in this format? Why is Smuggler's Flipping Copter banned in Pioneer? Like, it's unreal. It is unreal. Brought to you by the same people that keep Splinter Twin banned in Modern. Brought to you by the same people that keep Splinter Twin banned in Modern. Guyan the Scald, thanks for the half of your support. I appreciate the 6 months. Welcome back. Think of the value a 2-mana 3/3 that loots. It's just, it's so good. That's so good. Garrison Cat. When it dies, create a 1/1 white human soldier token. Okay. Probably some kind of aristocrat Slayer's deck. Yeah, I agree, Point. I feel like I got bait and switched with Pioneer. Pioneer to me feels like it was a bait and switch. They set an expectation early on and then did a complete 180 on that expectation at the first opportunity they got to 180 on it. Yeah, they're playing Abzan Rally, looks like. Let's see if they peel a land here. I don't know. Historic's fun. I'm enjoying Historic. I'm actually, so I'm cautiously excited about this Mythic Invitational Championship. We're gonna get to put my prediction to the test of there's tools in this format to handle the obnoxious things that happen in Standard. Because as you can see in the deck title today, we're gonna kick the tires on some Jeskai Luka in Historic today, among other things. So like, we're gonna see, do people have, is the format good because it hasn't been optimized, or is it good because it has tools to keep these more obnoxious things in check? We're gonna find out which of those two things is true in short order here soon. And I'm genuinely excited to see what happens. I agree. I am expecting the Jeskai Luka deck to be competitive in Historic, but I'm also expecting it to not feel overbearing. And I'm interested to see if that ends up being the case. Triggers. From a theory perspective, I think fast combo decks like Breach, better mana for 2 and 3 color aggro decks, as well as better 1-drops and cards like Adanto Vanguard should give aggro the tools they need to get under Luka with some consistency. I also am interested to see how the Luka deck does against things like Jeskai Planeswalkers with Nexus and like the Bant Nexus decks. Do any of the new HA3 cards making an impact? Yeah, actually, Ancient Ziggurat is going to be very, very good. I think we have an HA3 command, right? Yeah, look at that. Full HA3 list and some quick thoughts. There's some highlights highlighted there, but Ancient Ziggurat actually as a card is something that will go a long way. Will go a long way towards making a lot of these things better. How much money to skip to the good stuff? Well, HA3 is not legal yet. Or isn't out yet. If the HA patch was live already, I would have just started right with that today. The only reason we're starting on Moto is because the patch isn't live yet. Jeskai Luka will be competitive. People who are expecting Jeskai Luka to be unplayable in Historic are being unrealistic. There's a difference between playable and unbeatable, and 60% win rate with a large sample size. Uh, 11 EST, an hour from now. Anaphylactic is generally when it goes live. Oh, I forgot to play this to pump up Lieutenant. Whoops. If they want to kill this, they have to block with Priest tier 2, so I think I'm okay with that. Yes, yeah, I agree. I think Ancient Ziggurat's a great addition to the format. Ancient Ziggurat's another card that will help decks that are good against Luka without going in Luka. Yeah, Anafenza in general are both fantastic cards here for sure. This is probably a Dire Tactics Fairgrounds Warden matchup. Thalia and Heretic Cathar and Falconer seem whatever. I'm going to try a couple of Kitesail Freebooters, I think. This leaves me at 30 creatures, which seems fine. How far back do you think they'll end up going? All the way. All the way. Anybody that doesn't think Gem Palm Zombies will do, Beansy. Thanks for your generosity. Anybody that thinks Arena isn't eventually placing remote Moto is kidding themselves. That's cold hard facts. Moto will eventually go away. It might be 5 years from now. It might be 10 years from now. But this application is living on borrowed time. For people that don't know your history, Magic Online started as a standard-only application too. And then they slowly backcoded the way they're slowly backcoding on Arena. Now, I bet we'll eventually have everything on Arena, Mitsu. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, because I understand how software development works, but I think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we'll probably have Modern, Legacy, Vintage on Arena. Chains of Mephistopheles programmatically is an incredibly trivial card to program. In all likelihood. It's kind of convoluted to explain in terms of the rules, but it's literally just a flowchart. Chains, that's all of software. It's like having your software follow flowcharts. It's a bunch of if statements. Sounds good, Beansy. Yeah, I think 6K will get you into tomorrow because I give a 20% bonus on the big donations. Got to see what we get through today and who else bumps what. And again, one of the things, me saying that it's likely easy to code is by no means a guarantee. A good general rule of thumb is you should never assume it's easy to do something in a code base you haven't seen. Heck, a lot of the time, you shouldn't assume it's easy to do something in a code base you have seen until you try and do it. I would bet we are more likely to have Modern and Legacy on Arena than we are to have 4-player multiplayer. Hey, Rage Quidamgar, thanks for checking out the raid sponsor. I appreciate the support. Getting us closer to that first 180 goal. I appreciate it. Be sure to drop me a message. Let me know what deck in the queue you'd like to bump up. As a thank you for that. What's the old saying? There were only 2 people that knew how this code worked when I wrote it, myself and God, and now only God knows. I believe is the old programmer's adage. Need to hit a land so we can Fairgrounds Warden this priest. And obviously they have a decay, but we have a second Fairgrounds Warden. Feel like we're pretty dead here, missing this turn. Ethor93, thanks for the 3/4 zero. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Best option for gem spending. I spend most of my gems on energy refills, Louis. If you're a newer player, it is worth it to spend 800 gems on masteries for your first couple of champions. Alternatively, if you think Raid's a game you like and you're going to stick with it for a bit, unlocking the gem mine pays for itself. I believe it's like 2.5 or 3 months. So if you're gonna keep playing the game, you should unlock that first because it's worth the investment. Past Jeff. Jeff, during high school and undergrad, he thought his variable names were very descriptive, so he didn't leave comments in his code. Don't be like past Jeff, chat. Don't have a little respect. Don't be like past Jeff. Comments are not optional. I don't care how descriptive you think your variable names are when you write them. They're not. Trust me. They're not. They are not descriptive. Pro tip, make your passcode someone else's maintenance burden and then it's never a problem. My editors always have tab replaced by 4 spaces. I think we're just dead, right? Because, like, I can't... If I Fairgrounds Warden now, they'll just make me sack it in response to the trigger, and the way this is templated, they just keep their thing. If my code is anything to say, I'll be an extremely popular Magic streamer in the future. You know, it's funny. If you would have told me, like, Jeff, you have 2 hobbies during undergrad... part-time writing software and part-time playing Magic the Gathering. If you would have told me to pick which one of those 2 was my more likely future career option, I definitely wouldn't have picked the one I ended up in. Morning, James. By the way, something I want to make a point to plug a couple of times today. If you're someone interested in playing in the Historic Open this weekend, there's a good chance we're going to have a few spots that end up open. So you should pop on into the subscriber Discord server if you would like the chance to play in that still and sign up for the waitlist. I believe the waitlist is going to be empty once Christy... I believe the waitlist is going to be empty once Christy fills in the last few people on it after the drops we had yesterday and the day before. And I assume we'll have a few more drops between today and the day of the event. Blister Pod makes a 1/1 Scion. Yep. Land draw here is fantastic. Well, I guess we're taking dead weight, huh? I remember there was, and I don't know how it happened, but I remember there was a scripting language that I used in high school for Counter-Strike source server modifications, and it wasn't a case sensitive language, and I remember spending days tracking down an issue that ended up being a lowercase L where a capital I was supposed to be. Just like running in circles trying to figure out what was going on. It's just like, this is what actual hell is. It starts at 9 a.m. Central. For reference, it is currently 10 after 9 Central. So the open will be starting 2 days from now, 10 minutes ago. To do, fix this suit will cause issues 2015. Mr. Napper. Napper, are you playing on Saturday? I didn't check the player list. BT dubs. Illicet, thank you for the very generous tier 2 and for the 2/3 of a year at that. I appreciate that. Kenneth, you were in here too earlier. Kenneth and Napper are our first 2 open winners. Are either of you playing this weekend? Alright, so you get to get the general here. And he does more than just help you with your car insurance. He's going to go ahead and exile this card from the graveyard and pump up the jam. Oh, this isn't a human. Perfect, Kenneth. Awesome for both of you. Sweet. I'm going to make sure, depending on how sweet your decks are, you're going to be on coverage in the first couple of rounds. If you're playing something stock, you'll probably be a little bit later. The first 2 rounds, I want to try and get the flaming piles on before they burn out. Is Banisher pre-sell legal? That's a good question. I believe that's legal. Oh, you know what it probably is? I bet this build is electing to play Fairgrounds Warden because of the 3rd point of toughness. Wild Slash is a card in this format. So that 3rd point of toughness can be a big difference. Nicole is a 3/2. Oh, Jeg, that's what it is. Wellspring is unplayable if you have that companion. That makes sense. Remember, too, if you're between a couple of different deck lists for the Open this weekend, there will be 2 sweetest deck awards handed out at this tournament. So, of the decks that get at least 2 match wins and don't get another prize, I'll be giving out a couple extra prizes to 2 people that show up with something awesome and win some matches. Because, again, the focus of our tournament is, community building, stuff like that, as opposed to being super spiky. My goal for the tournament series is if we do eventually scale it up in price support, we'll flatten out a little bit more as opposed to just stacking on the top. This deck isn't good, but it's certainly great as a tagline for the Sweet Stick. That is. It really is. Yep. So their last card here is Rally then. Hey, Xerix. Thanks for the brand new Tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Glandia. Having a great Thursday wherever you're at. Happy release day. All right. Man, that's tough. So do I Dire Tactics the Priest, or do I just play Anafenza? If I Anafenza, they could sack a bunch of stuff in response, and then rally some stuff back. That doesn't even really accomplish that much. You can do both. No, Honored Hierarch doesn't make mana unless it's Exalted or Renowned. It's currently just pumped up from the general. You know what I would really like in Historic? The mono-colored creature land cycle would be really sweet. The Fairy Conclave, Treetop Village. Yeah, Fairy Conclave, Treetop Village would be a good set of ones to have, I think. Yeah, but so they could sack things in response to Anafenza, then rally on their turn. They can rally for 2 on their turn. You're right. They couldn't rally for anything right now, but I was thinking, like, what if they sack things and then rally? Oh no, not my Thraben Inspector. How will I ever win the game now? The white one's unplayable trash. I've definitely registered Gitu Encampment before. It's a card I've played. Spawning Pool. Spawning Pool's probably... I think the white and black ones are unplayable in that cycle. I think you're right. What could be sick, too, we don't really know what they're going to do with Jumpstart. It would be sick if we got some sweet tribal creature lands in Jumpstart. Could see that being something they maybe want to do. Good draw. I just attack with all of these. I have Dire Tactics just in case of blowout.
A new download.
I guess I could have a Coco here. Nope, doesn't look like it. So they're going to sack their Cruel Celebrant to keep their Aristocrat alive. They'll take 4 down to 5. That sound scared me, not used to noise during spreadsheet. What sound? Was there a sound? Oh, is the raid sound on? Sorry about that. I forgot we turned it on during the raid segment yesterday. Thanks, Bear Canoe, for taking the time to check them out. Alright, well. Lost to the good deck. Beat up another bad deck. Sounds like magic. Sounds like magic. Slow and steady. We'll see. Hopefully the arena patch goes out on time as expected. Well, I mean, we're guaranteed to get Gear Hulks, right? Again, everything in Pioneer will eventually be in Historic. Top of the hour, their patch theoretically starts. Once the patch gets loaded up, we're going to have a couple minutes of me putting decks together because I couldn't get decks into the client in advance, basically like a set release day. I've got some rough shells in and I put some placeholder cards, so I've got to swap them out. Christy's the one that cuts my hair. We just use my electric razor. Just put the guard on and cut it. Super easy. Man, we've been in the queue for over 2 minutes. Dead format. Dead format, dead application. Hey, Oops Pat, thanks for 11 months. Yeah, Historic will eventually have more cards in it than Pioneer. Hey, thanks Paul for checking out the raid. The raid sponsor, I appreciate it. How could you ever manage not paying $80 for a haircut? People pay $80 for haircuts? Like, I've gone to, like, sports clips and places like that before, and even, like, leaving a $15 tip, it's usually, like, 30 or 40 bucks at most. Is that a thing? Do people pay that much for haircuts? The last time I went to a place for a haircut, it was around Christmas time, and I left a big tip because it was the holidays, and I think it was still like 40 bucks at most. Yeah, maybe some women's haircuts. That's fair. Could see that. Probably some more complexity if you're doing different things. Hey, Skittles, thanks for the quarter beer. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Only Magic cards get that kind of big spending. Lol. Yep. I guess we're just scrying here. Like, I probably don't need the 2 life. I want to just try and Hey, Full Metal, thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. Best Sword Dealer's Choice, I will do. Thanks for keeping me around. We're gonna bottom the Kytheon. Are we actually? Maybe we keep these. So if I keep both of these, I can go 3-drop next turn into 3-drop, 1-drop the turn after. You're legally an adult today. I'm sorry. I mean, happy birthday. Usually charge $225 for dying / cut. Yeah, I mean, once you factor in things like dye, I think all bets are off. I can definitely see things being expensive if you're getting like dyes mixed into different various getting your hairs dyed. Your hair dyed in various ways is not cheap. It's the end of the world as we know it. Do. All right, General, let's go. Card I'm most excited for in Historic Anthology 3. I'm just going to be lame and say Ancient Ziggurat. Card's going to be real good for the format. Hey, stay safe out there, Seth. One of those mantras that always felt weird to me is you often, at least, I don't know, maybe it was just where I grew up at, but I often heard people saying growing up that like, well, that's just high school, or that's just how kids are, or that's just how teenagers are. And like, the realization that like, those people were either just wrong or didn't get it, and like, that's just how people are. Like those things, the way people are in high school and as teenagers, like that's just how people are in large part. Like the awful things that they do. Sometimes people learn that they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't show people that they're that kind of person. But in large part, that's just how people are. I think this is just a Dire Tactics in matchup again. I'm going to trim a couple of these Kitesail Freebooters. Life experience 10% people, but some never grow up past that pettiness. Yep. Yeah, Maze's End is probably my pick for like Sweetest Meme Edition. It'll be interesting to see if it can actually be somewhat competitive. You're the second person to ask me about Gem Palm Polluter in Yarok Field. Stop it. Get some help. Again, if you think Gem Palm Polluter belongs in Yarok Field, I would heavily encourage you to think about how we always approach deck building on this stream. Ask yourself the question, what problem does your deck have, and how is it being solved with the cards you're recommending? And I just don't understand any problem that archetype has that gets solved by that inclusion. Yeah, the realistic question to answer about Maze's End deck, it will easily be, was this Maze's End better or worse? Was this Maze's End better than just having Field of the Dead? Yeah, I think Gem Palm Polluter in a deck like hello, oldest son. Gem Palm Polluter in a deck like Field of the Dead is pretty classic Winmore.
My show done.
Your show's done.
Wait, you want another show for you?
You can watch another show, yeah. Use the remote, dude. You're smart. You know how it works.
Why a Minecraft show?
Yeah, you can watch a Minecraft show, dude.
I need somebody to help me.
Okay, I'll be right back, Chef. You can do it. You know how. There's a remote. Get it. Hurry, dude. Can you get it, please? You're very funny. Can you bring me the remote? Look at Jacob. This button here is the Minecraft button. This one has Minecraft shows. That one right there, okay? You're welcome, Jacob. You're a sweet boy. This here is actually something that I wish the Magic Arena interface would do. The Magic Online interface, when you press your auto pass hotkey, it stops in combat to offer you attackers, whereas the Magic Arena button, when you hit pass turn, it skips your attack phase. Really, really wish that was something Arena did. Do-do-do-do. Be-do-do-do. Alright, we'll put Fairgrounds Warden in and cut these Kitesail Freebooters, I think. Just bring in all the removal. Except when you hit past the turn and then your opponent casts the spell and it stops and gives you priority in response to that spell. I always knew you were just dead weight, Honored Hierarch. Why you gotta keep holding me back like that, Honored Hierarch? Well, that was not the land I wanted for Christmas. I guess we'll scribe. Okay, well, you know, it's decent. That's really good. Oh, I should have... No, I shouldn't attack, because if they eat this, would be a 4-4, right? Can we beat Scavenging Ooze? Feels like the answer to that question is no. Has Hierarch been good? I mean, it ate 2 removal spells there. Gimpy, thanks for the half year. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, they cast Snake for 0 to trigger Revolt for Fatal Push. I feel like we're just not going to beat this Scavenging Ooze, right? They're at 19. That's awesome to hear, Seth. Every vote counts, not only just in the presidential election, but in all those down ticket races too. When November comes around, take an hour and Google your city, county, state elections as well. Especially city stuff. Your ballots in the fall will likely have a number of different ordinances that really could directly impact your life in different ways. Like, obviously it all matters, but like in the most direct sense, those types of things can really matter. Your sister does hair for a living. She told me about some dye and color appointments where they have $500 to $600 appointments and they have a deposit for them. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, dyeing hair can get super expensive for sure. As someone who's paid to have beard and head and stuff done. Yeah, having to register to vote in America is rancid, and that's by design. Having to register to vote and having specific polling places and stuff like that's designed to suppress voter turnout. Because one political party typically stands to gain from suppressing voter turnout. So encouraging people to vote is seen as a partisan issue. We are dead to a removal spell here. Oh, we're dead to Luris Dead Weight, huh? I don't think we're beating the Skoos regardless. Like, if we're more conservative there, we just don't have enough pressure. Sweet. It actually looks like Christy said she's going to fill in. It looks like we had a number of people drop. There's currently 11 open spots for the tournament on Saturday. Currently 11 open spots, and the wait list I think only has 4 left on it. So I think Christy said once she gets everybody that's currently on the wait list added to the tournament, when people move, Mike, not everybody goes to a traditional public high school. Voter registration should be automatic, and you should have to opt out, not opt in. Just like being an organ donor, you should have to opt out, not opt in. Things like that have much higher participation rates when they're opt out and not opt in. There is no entry cost for the Open this weekend. The only entry is that you have to be currently subscribed to my Twitch channel. So just make sure your subscription is active through the end of Saturday. You have to be subscribed to the channel, and your computer, this is important, your computer needs to be capable of broadcasting your matches to Discord via Discord screen sharing upon request. If your computer is unable to broadcast to Discord, you're not able to play in the tournament, because having everybody be able to broadcast is a requirement so we can do coverage. Opponents all hopped up over here. Yes, the tournament is double elimination. There are prizes based on the amount of match wins that you get during the tournament. So, rather, we have specific pricing for first, second, and third, but past first, second, and third prizes are awarded based on match wins. So all the 7 wins, 8 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins get the same prizes. There are multiple Hooglandia clans. Which one do I join? If you look in the subs Discord, there's a couple in there that are tagged as beginner clans. You pop on in there. So, they can play 2 spells. They eat my Thalia, so I think I just take the hit here again. So, registration on Melee isn't open again yet. Christy is going to add people from the waitlist into the tournament, and then we'll reopen registration on there. You can also use the waitlist in Discord if you want to add yourself to that now, so she'll add you manually. But once she adds people from the waitlist, we'll open up registration generally again. Freebooter's a great hit here, along with General. Take a peek at their hand. It's the best way to find out if your computer is capable of screen sharing. Test it. At any point, you can join any of the voice channels in the subs Discord or any Discord server and click go live. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to take the Titan Strength because of Dread Horde. Hey, thanks for the 5 months, Gibbo. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Both Gary's a good one. Dire Tactics seems great here. Maybe Sin Collector. I think I'm again just taking the curve and dragging it down. I've boarded Falconer out in most of the matchups. It's pretty slow and clunky. It's like fine with this, I guess, but yeah, maybe I don't want Honored Hierarch. Maybe that's better than cutting some of these. Because Honored Hierarch's pretty unlikely to get to attack in. Let's leave the Falconer. See if we get a chance to see him. Double Moto today? What do you mean? I am not intending to play another Magic Online deck after this. If HA3's not up by the time we finish this set, we're just going to hang out and chat for a little bit. I'm gonna mulligan again. Maybe I keep this because of my companion. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna keep because of the companion. It's a little land heavy, but having a guaranteed 5-drop means land heavy's not a big deal. Hey, well, U-Town, thanks for 3/4 of a year. Nope, yep, same deck. Moto's just real slow. The rate of play on Moto is glacial compared to the rate of play on Arena. Not having an auto tapper is a big deal. Hey, thanks Kurt and She for taking the time to check out Raid and play through the tutorial. Be sure to take a peek at the deck queue and let me know what you'd like to bump up in there as a thank you for doing that. Real easy way to support my content at no cost to yourself is to check out that sponsor and download the game and play through the tutorial on PC. It's going to be up for the next 4 days to do that. I have through Monday. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. Yes, yeah, the few that were missing from yesterday got added, so that number is accurate. Their hiccup was an issue between the server that was sending the notification and the actual display. They were actually still logged, which is nice. They said the last master set in paper is going to be the last one for a while. They were upfront about that. I think we're probably dead here. Yeah, the Abzan Humans deck has been pretty underwhelming. Feels like a pretty classic example of not particularly linear, not particularly linear enough, not particularly interactive enough. Am I dead? I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. You think I should just double life gain? I kind of want a company. Yeah, maybe it's better to play around Boros Charm here. No, Commander 2020 cards were never announced as coming to Arena. You're maybe confusing those with Jumpstart? Jumpstart we're getting. Show me all secrets. This is another God's Willing. They peel God's Willing for the turn. Define Strike, sure. Okay, so we're actually in a pretty okay spot. Not great, but okay. I think I was supposed to actually do this last turn. So let's just do it now rather than double down on a mistake. And then we'll attack for 8 for 8 here. And then if they don't peel a God's Willing to kill us next turn, We should have a good chance to kill them on our next turn with company. Digging for General or Thalia's Lieutenant. Alright, we 2-2. Let's see if we can get our fun bucks back, huh? 10-ish minutes until the patch approximately goes live. Yes, the patch today includes HA3 and it includes turning the historic ladder permanently back on. Hey, Archon John, sorry about that. I appreciate the tier 3. Thanks for re-upping. Be sure to take a peek at the deck queue and let me know something you want to bump, or submit something through the forum if you'd like to add something new with that. Watsy just announced Doubled Masters. Well, that's pretty peak Magic player, coming in here and asking what happened to Master Sets when they just announced a Master Set. That's really funny. Wait, is this a paper set or just Magic Online? What platform do the kids play Minecraft on? Mostly Switch, but also sometimes Android. Are those the Fetchland reprints people have been clamoring for? Hey, Pyromancus, thanks for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Huh. So, I feel like I just want a general here. Start exiling stuff from their bin. Don't really know what they're doing. Honored Hierarch seems pretty bad, though, since they can't really attack in profitably. Dire Tactics seems fine. Kicking Luris off the table seems important. Yeah, it could be another rally deck with bad mana. Maybe that makes Makes Fairgrounds Warden fine. Trim Thalia seems good. How's this Pioneer deck been? Just okay. Wait, did they confirm Double Masters doesn't have fetch lands? How's Pioneer? They confirmed it won't have fetch lands. Well, that's something. Explicitly. God, I hope they don't print those cards into Standard. I really hope we don't go back to fetch land. I really don't want Historic to be a fetch shock format. There will be another reprinting of fetch lands coming this year, but Bet Masters, they said they won't print them into Standard. Hopefully they're just another stupid box set. I just don't want them to go through Standard into Historic. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, for people saying they said they don't want them in Standard, they also said 4 mana Wraths and 1 mana Dorks were things they didn't want in Standard, and we know how those things ended up, right? Selling fetches in premium price probably way more preferable. Yeah, I would bet that's the case too. It would be my assumption as well. Why don't you want fetches in Historic? Because decks having imperfect mana makes for more interesting deck building. With fetch shock mana bases, playing whatever colors you want becomes fairly trivial, and it removes a piece of the Magic deck building puzzle that I find interesting. I lead on Anafenza here. I'm actually not going to attack with this, because if I attack with this and they kill Anafenza, they get a free attack with Luris, which isn't good for me. Well, Anafenza means they can't recast it, TZT. She causes things to get exiled. Yeah, everyone that's complaining about companions in any format right now, what they actually mean to say is Yorion is overtuned and these other things are Yorion and Lurrus are maybe overtuned. They're not actually talking about companions as a whole. Gazi, thanks for 16 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. As far as this is concerned, I feel like my one big takeaway was that Honored Hierarch's a pretty garbage Magic card. There's plenty of other 2-power 1-drop humans, and I think you'd probably rather have other 2-power 1-drop humans rather than Honored Hierarch here. So I'd probably play more Kytheon. I'd probably play some other 2-power 1-drop. I think not playing 4 generals probably a huge mistake. I think you just want extra copies of your good cards. I also think there's a chance, like, looking at this mana base, if you cut Honored Hierarch, maybe you could work the mana in a way that you could play Beneficial Marshal as having more anthems in your 3-drop slot. Could be something worth exploring. And unfortunately, you don't have Ancient Ziggurat in this format like we'll have in Historic here soon. So, yeah, you'd have to drop the Companion to do that. We never put the Companion on the stack in that league, right? Actual never. At no point during that set did we cast the Companion, I don't think. There's Dragon Hunter. There's also a Warrior 1-drop that exiles things from graveyards when it comes into play that I believe is a human, if I recall correctly. All right, we are going to pivot on over. We're going to pivot on over to the Historic Anthology 3 waiting room.